so let's move on to like the stereotypes now that we have of gay people. Not so much about what gay people are supposed to be like, but just rather the superficiality, I would say, of things. I mean, that happens in any community. I mean, straight or gay. But do you think gay in particular, do you feel that there's a higher superficiality in terms of, because of all the images we see, like, so about, people who don't look like that may feel very insecure and feel unloved. And so on top of being, for example, if they're closeted, on top of being a minority, they have to deal with this other thing of like, I don't even feel attractive enough, you know? Then, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Are there a lot of people who have confessed or voiced their feelings about?
I mean, like body shaming, right? Is a huge issue, not just for the gay community, but I think for females as well.
Exactly.
Straight guys somehow kind of coast by. There's this latest thing now, if you have a dad bod.
Oh, yeah.
So for straight guys, if you have a dad bod, you're hot, right?
But what if you don't? Right.
But if you're gay and you have a dad bod, you're pretty much sidelined. One of the earliest comments I got when I finally showed myself as the admin was, "Oh my god, you're so fat."
Okay.
Yeah, which I was like, okay, not exactly relevant to my role, but okay, fine.
Yeah, like what's it got to do with anything, right?
Yeah. But body shaming, I feel, okay, and this is purely my personal theory, the gay community, why we are so superficial or why we are so obsessed about looking good is because it's a defense mechanism. Okay. Because we get a lot of external hostility, right? People who choose to, "Oh my god, you're gay," or "Oh my god, you're so gay," and all these kind of like cutting remarks. So the pushback to that is to look as bloody good as you can, and which comes off as
that.
Right.
It's the sass
that whole flamboyant sassiness of like, "Excuse me, girl," like I may be gay, but I'm looking way better than you. Yeah. Okay. So my personal theory is that it started off as a defensive mechanism, right? The other thing which I read somewhere was why gay guys are so much into, because you are actually appealing to your own sex.
Yes.
As opposed to straight couples, for example, guy and girl, right?
Right.
Okay. There's no obvious points of comparison.
Right.
Like for a girl to find a guy attractive, apparently a lot of girls like guys who are huggable.
Right.
Okay, which I guess my kind of body actually makes me an ideal candidate, but too bad I'm not, right? So and guys like girls, with boobs and
but
ass
guys
and
don't like
stuff.
guys who are huggable, I guess.
Yeah, but then when
okay.
Well, these days actually the bear community the bear community is growing,
which is good, which is different.
Yeah, but then again
it's still a label. I mean, I guess, but then I guess you have to have a label. I mean, you have to have a preference of sorts, right? Anyway, so I guess as long as there are different communities that are popular, I guess that's still good. But
I think people like labels because it's easy to sort somebody. I mean, like one of the most popular things about like Harry Potter was, there's 4 schools, right?
Yeah.
Are you a Gryffindor versus a Hufflepuff versus right? And people like, or these online personality quiz. Like, are you this person? Are you that kind of person? And stuff like that. People do like labels.
Right.
But when labels become negative,
yeah.
Right, one of the things that anger me when I come across like Grindr profiles, no femmes. Okay, there are the obvious ones like no Asians, but we don't get that so much here in Singapore. Right. Racial discrimination. I personally feel that, well, okay, there isn't that much. The Malay community does get sidelined quite a bit.
Right.
Much more the Indian community, which kind of disturbs me because I personally find Indian guys quite hot.
Right.
So I don't get that. But body shaming is actually one of the bigger ones. Or even mannerism shaming, right? So no femmes, no chubs, no sissy, all these very hateful labels.
Right.
But the community seems to kind of close one eye and wink at them, in a sense.
Right.
And even I recently discovered by talking to some of my readers who turned out, there are even labels within the bear community.
Wow.
Yeah. So even within a community that has been sidelined, there are further labels that sideline it.
Oh wow.
And sidetracking like a little bit, one of the things that shocked me when I first started the page was the level of biphobia.
Okay.
There's a lot of hostility towards bisexuals.
Wow.
Which to me was like, I don't get that.
Right.
Because personally, I find bisexuals a little bit hot.
So
like you can play both sides of the aisle.
Okay.
Like,
but then how would you differentiate it though? There's one thing. It's one thing to have a preference.
Yeah.
It's another thing to shame, right?
Yeah.
So if someone's putting on their profile, oh, no Asians or anything, would you say that's shaming, or is that a preference? How would you read it though? It's tricky, right? Because people should have a preference, right?
Okay.
I mean, if they just don't like Asians, then they don't. Well.
Again, both sides. Okay, and on the page, right, I've put up these topics for discussion a lot of times. When I come across articles like on Huffington Post and stuff like that, I will put it up there just for discussion. And you see the readers, I wouldn't say they go to war, but it's very close. You have those that would say, this is just my preference. Like, what's wrong with it?
Right.
Versus those that says, this is racism, or this is body shaming and stuff like that. My take at the end of the day is, if you've not been on the receiving end of it, you would never understand. Right. If you've never been told that you're fat to your face so many times, or you've been blocked, automatically just because you're fat, you will never feel that kind of rejection and hurt. Right. And for me is, okay, again, if it's just for sex, right? If it's just for hookups and stuff like that, I would then tell the other person, look, just forget it, right? So that person is sizist, or that person is stupidly racist, right? Who don't happen to find you hot just because of your race, not even because of how you look, but just purely because of race. Then the guy's a total retard anyway. I'm sorry.
It's not personal. I mean, don't take it personally. It's just
we do have to grow a thicker skin. But on the other hand, I feel that if some of us would just open up our minds like a little bit more, I do tell some of my readers, right, look, if it's on Grindr, if it's just for sex, why get so hung up about it? Okay. But if somebody has gone out with you on a couple of dates and stuff like that, and then finally comes back to you and say, I think you're a wonderful person, and there was actually this post that went viral, not on my page, but there was this girl that went out for a fantastic date. She had a fantastic first date, and the guy actually wrote a long letter to her telling her that she would be a perfect life partner if she wasn't so fat.
That
was so disgusting. That was
that is
But Rich, I mean, okay, if it's to that level, then that guy is, you can call him all sorts of awful names. But if it's just for sex, it's like sometimes you just can't help it lah. Visually, and we are talking about being turned on by what turns you on visually, right? And being turned on is generally a lot about that.
But if you really think about it, how long can you be turned on by one person? After a while, it still kind of fades, right? I mean, after a while, even if that person is still hot, you would still, naturally as a human being, you would see something new and be attracted to that. So at the end of the day, you really have to think about what really makes you feel connected and good and loved. It's those things fade away, but I think a true meaningful relationship doesn't. So I mean, if you can, I wouldn't even say if you can look past it. I think if you can just change your perception, you will be able to not care so much about these less important things, although it's
one of the jokes I have in my relationship with my partner is I wasn't this fat when I first got attached to him. And then I did tease him, so I was like, so are you bear lover now that I've grown? And he says that, well, I love you for more than your size.
That's great.
Or lack of.
That's great.
So people do grow. I think once you get past the physicality of it, like for me now, right, to be honest, the things that turn me on about my partner, his obvious brains, he's pretty witty, though sometimes I don't get it, because his humor comes off a little bit odd, stuff like that. But the stuff that makes him happy, a lot of it I realize revolves around me. So it's, how can you not love a person like that?
And if you are blessed with the best genes in the world, also don't get attached to it, because it doesn't necessarily stay.
Totally not politically correct.
Right.
Some of my worst sex ever was with totally hot guys. You get them, the fuck.
It's also because they're so into themselves. No, you can. It's YouTube.
Oh, okay. Fucking hot bots and everything. Go to the bed and dead fish.
It's like, because they feel so entitled.